Welcome everyone to another coaching corner. I'm so excited to be here with you today. And we know we've got some new folks hanging with us as well. We got folks hanging with us over on YouTube, folks with us on Instagram, folks with us on Facebook, and of course, the community is all here in the Zoom. So we're excited for everybody to be here with us today. I want to share this quick note with you and a quick challenge with you, and we're going to dive right in to our Q&A. We've got questions that you can ask, and we want to see how many of them we can grab. So definitely start loading them in. I see Emily's question is already in there. Just want to give everybody that quick note. If you have a question, just start it with Q:, and that'll help me to find it faster. Here is our context for today. Our context for today is branding. Branding. It's a term that everybody uses. Few people fully understand and know what it really means, but branding is not the color palette that you pick, your hex codes. It's not your logo, or even the different dynamics and things that you do in your show. Branding isn't even the title of your show. Branding is the feeling that people have when they hear your name or your content or your solution set mentioned. It's not just the feeling, but it's the sense of value. It is the sense of inclusion. It is the sense of what is this going to allow me to do? Or how does this fit in my overall structure and strategy that I'm doing for me? Because branding, while it is wildly personal, how we make someone feel is largely what they will remember. So with that context, I want to ask you this. If people could use one word to describe your brand, what would it be? Go ahead and put it in the chat. Go ahead and comment if you were watching this on replay. We got 5 of you on with us right now. If people could, I see you out there, Pigtown Sports. Thank you so much for being with us. I see you, Emily. She says energetic. If people could use one word to describe your brand, what would it be? What would it be? And herein lies, Steve Factor says energy as well. Herein lies an interesting dichotomy, right? I want to make this thing clear. What I'm asking you is, if people could describe your brand, okay? Not necessarily you describing your brand. If people could describe your brand, what would it be? Choose your power word carefully. I see Max says advocate. Okay. I still see, Emily says helpful. Steve says energy. LOL. He's doubling down. Choose your power word carefully. For some people, it might be a power word, could be energy, could be helpful, but I like words like clarity. I like words like joy. I like words like precision. I like words like boldness. I like words like permission. Ooh. I like the word advocate, but advocate for what? Is that what somebody would say of your brand? Supercharged as one word. This is branding. This is a branding exercise I want each of you to take with you as you go through your week this week. And we're not going to stay long because we don't have a whole lot of time. Clarity, joy, precision, boldness, permission. Maybe none of these are the ones you desire, right? So my original question was, if people describe your brand, what would it be? Now we're shifting to, what do you want your brand to reflect? Does your current content reflect the power word that you would choose? Clarity is a word that I love. Does my content reflect clarity? Does my content reflect health? Does my content, Park Bras, reflect collaborate? Does my content reflect, Emily, supercharged? Does that, whether your content reflects that or not, sometimes you may actually have to step outside of your own sphere to understand. And I see you on Instagram as well, Orchard Park. It's June, Homegrown, Micah Flemings, 24-Hour Boss. Thank you all for hanging out with us. But the point I want to make super clear for everybody that is hanging with us today, and I know we've got more that I need to allow into the Zoom room. There we go. Is that we each get to choose it. Nobody, like, we put out the content and we get to choose how that content impacts us, how that content brings itself forth. Okay. And this is my challenge for you for the week. Okay. The challenge for you for the week is to put the word that you want, put the word that your community would say, and put the word that you think your content actually reflects. Hopefully, all three of those words are the same. But if they're not, then you get to chart the way towards making them the same. The word that your community would say, the word that you would want, and the word that your content actually reflects. Are they all the same word? Are they all the same word? And I want to give you a little cheat code here. This is not an exercise you can do by yourself. You're gonna have to incorporate and include other people into this exercise. It's the only way that it's gonna work. This is the only word that is going to make it, only way that's going to make it work. I see somebody just joined us on YouTube. Thank you for being with us. We're talking about branding, and we're talking about if people could only choose one word to describe your brand, what would it be? Then we talked about you choosing a power word for yourself. What would that be? And then we talked about whether or not your content reflects that word. Or does it reflect a different word? Shouldn't be 3 different words, but if it is 3 different words, you've got work to do. And my cheat code I want to share with you is that this is not something you can do yourself. So I see a couple of you putting the word YES in the chat. I'm just going to be clear with you. You can't answer this right now. You're going to have to work with either family or trusted community members to hear what word would they choose, and don't lead them into it either. Don't say you'd pick clarity for me, right? No. Allow them to come up with their own words, and so you can hear what people are experiencing when they come in contact with you and when they come in contact with your content. All right, this is the coaching corner. It's the middle of the middle, right? We're doing it a little bit earlier today because I've got to go catch a flight, and so I don't have a lot of wiggle room to hang out here today. If you see the shirt that I have on, it's Ecamm Creator Camp Mac Edition, and I'm actually a speaker at Ecamm Creator Camp Mac Edition, which starts tomorrow. So I'm flying to Chicago this evening, and I will be there for the Ecamm Creator Camp tomorrow, all day tomorrow, and then we go into Macworld for the remainder of the weekend. So I'm excited for that. I see some things coming in the chat here. Hi, everyone. I hope. Listen, Tracy, we're just so excited that you're here. We're so excited to hear. I know that you're in the UK, and I know that you've been experiencing a significant heat wave over there. I do have a question. A question has come in from Emily, and I want to encourage the rest of you guys to put your questions in, and I want to see if we can't grab this question from Emily. So this question says, how do I fix a Facebook pixel that is not tracking correctly, or find someone who can help me do this? Oh, this is a good question. Not necessarily in my bag of expertise, but you kind of answered the question already by answering the last part. I see Monty Weaver's with us. What's going on, my guy? He says, always on the move. Yeah, man, always on the move. This summer is crazy. But I want to say this to Emily. Thank you for your question. Facebook Pixel, for those that aren't aware of what it is a tracking component that allows for you to do ads. But the Pixel is supposed to integrate with your own content in your own profile in some very unique and interesting ways. In fact, the Pixel should be able to learn basically who your audience is so that it can put your ads in front of the right people. So how do I fix a Facebook Pixel that is not tracking correctly is a very valid question. There are a number of people that I would go to fix that. Maybe I might have to find the resource's name and give it to you in the community, Emily, because I am drawing a blank right now. I've had her on my show a couple of times. She's like, I just remembered her tagline: a swift kick in the ads. Not okay. It's a play on the word. The Digital Gal is her name, and she absolutely crushes it when it comes on to ads. So Facebook Pixel, all that stuff. Why? Amanda is her name. And I'm going to just it's called the Digital Gal. Amanda's her name. She's the one that I would absolutely recommend. In fact, I'm just going to go ahead and put that in the comments for you on Zoom, but it's also going to post on some of the other places as well. Steve, I like it. Junaid Ahmed is here. Is Wake Up with Kirk. What's going on, man? Thank you so much for being with us today. Always good to have you, bro. Appreciate you over on Facebook. Anybody else on Facebook, go ahead and chime in. We love when you guys are with us. Steve Factor says the power branding. She branded well. She did. I was going to say that. It's such a great segue, Steve. I was going to say that. I was like, I just remembered one of her taglines, swift kick in the ads. And I thought, man, that is, you're so right, Steve. Thank you for, thank you for that. I'm going to actually, and she has, and one of her brand colors is pink. And so let me see. Can I show this? Can I show this to you guys? Is that going to work? It does. I love this. Okay, so yeah, this is her site, and you can see Swift Kick in the ads, learn Facebook and Instagram ads with Amanda Robinson, the digital gal. Really good friend of mine. I've had her in the community before. This is what she does. And there's so many other questions to ask when it comes on to working with a Facebook pixel that I don't even want to bother running down that road. I just want to give you that resource and allow you to work with her, if that makes sense. Just let me know that you're catching that, Emily. If you are, that'll be great. Thank you. Let me see what else we got here in terms of questions. Yes. See, Janaid knows her as well. Amanda's amazing, he says. So you're getting some good feedback as well. She really does know her stuff. And maybe she even has some content that might actually be able to walk you through some things as well. So definitely appreciative of the question and excited for that. Anybody else have any questions? And if you're in the Zoom room, yeah, I think you can just... for today, in the interest of time, I'm going to just ask you to type it because I do want to make sure that I stay the course, that I stay on time today. But give me 20 minutes as I'm eating. Okay, yeah. All right, so Tracy, you may have missed it. I am not going to be on super long today. I am catching a flight, so I'm going to have to. I've got to be very conscious of my time. Pastor Burden has joined us. Rashad Burden has joined us over on Instagram. Thank you so much for being with us today as well. She said, I'll save it for next time. No worries. But definitely, if you have a question, I see that we've got, almost 15 people watching on the different various platforms. So if you have a question, drop it in the chat. If you have a question and you're on Zoom, drop it in the chat. We want to make sure that as many of your questions as possible, we can get them, we can answer them, we can help you get across the line. I love being able to engage in these ways. One of the things as we wait, one of the things that I am, look at that. Junaid says, stay on track, have an epic travel, my friend. Love it. David Hunt says, what's the best way to get the words that people say about you? Comment on a video, etc. What's the best way to get the words that people say about you? Now, can I ask David, why do you want to know the words that people are saying? What is that? I almost think that you want to know what the words that people are saying about the issue you work with. Like the pain language is what I like to say. I love being able to harness pain language, utilizing things. Yeah. This is in relation to the challenge you laid out. No. This is more of the branding thing. I love this. So you're not talking about pain language. We'll talk about pain language in a second, but I love this. Thank you so much, David, for clarifying. Yeah. Okay, she says, 1 second, food won't get cold. Good. So that means your question's going to come. Okay. But yes, this is in relation to the challenge you laid out. Ask them. Ask them. Just be very upfront. Don't try to be, cute with it or clever with it. Ask, hey, what's the word what comes to mind when you hear me? What comes to mind when you, like, literally, there's how many people watching right now? Okay. In the comment section right now, I'm going to star this question from Tracy so I can get back to it. In the comment section right now, what word comes to mind when you hear Kirk? When you hear how it all works? When you hear Kirk R. Nugent, right? What word comes to mind? What do you feel when you hear, Kirk's got a new video? Okay. Okay. You do that. This is an answer to David's question. Just be very direct. Yeah. 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 I see. So okay, Emily says competence. I love it. Thank you for that. That's awesome. That's awesome. That's what comes to mind for you. I'm excited that comes to mind. That's a good thing for me. I definitely want competence. Tracy says supportiveness. Supportiveness. That's what comes to mind for her. Max says coach. Hey, listen, coach. And this is a really great practice. So David, on your live stream, hey, Steve Schwechter says twin. I love it. On your live stream, and next time you go live, ask that question. Okay. Send a text to your family members and say, hey, I'm doing some research. I need you to answer this question. What comes to mind when you hear David Hunt? What comes to mind when you hear, the minstrel or whatever? What comes to mind? What comes to mind? Just be very direct. Emily says, I can trust what you share because you can back it all up. And here's what I love what is being shared here. And these are absolutely things I'm gonna go back through this chat later and harvest some of the things that have been shared, because I think this is absolutely amazing. But I just want to say to David, who asked the original question, what are some ways? I don't think you need to be clever. I don't think you need to, there's not like a formula. Like if you ask the question this way, you're going to get back. No, be direct. Just don't lead the question. Hey, I like to think of myself as supportive and, competent and trustworthy as a coach. What word comes to mind when you hear me, right? When you hear my name? Not that you've led the question. You've already given them a box to really sink their teeth into. You want it to be from their lived experience. You want it to, because it's going to help to inform you. So I hope that makes sense. And I thank you for that question, David. That's absolutely amazing. Tracy has a question. She says, I've accidentally got a mailing list on my, what's this? Fledgling watercolor painting channel. Just not sure now how to take advantage of it. Okay. How do you take advantage of it? Okay. So here's this is in general for everyone. How you take advantage of a mailing list, even on a small channel, is to, again, provide value in the same area for which this content was created. Provide value in the same area for which this content was created. So you talked about this being a fledgling watercolor channel, right? So provide value in the area of that watercolor audience. So because if that mailing list is associated with that channel, all right? If that mailing list is associated with that channel, then those people subscribe because they have an interest in that thing, which is watercolors. So now you just make, create some emails that are specific or resources that are specific to the watercolors. Now I know you started off by saying this was a total accident, and I get that part, but I'm not necessarily, speaking to that part when I give this answer. I'm making this answer general because I think everybody can benefit. If you have a mailing list and it's associated with a particular type of content, you want to make sure that content is doubled down on in terms of value for the mailing list. And you want to just reference the mailing list in the content. We talked about this on the mailing list this week, where we put us out on an email where we talked about this or this or this. People will say to themselves, I need to get on the mailing list because clearly there's additional value on the mailing list. Now, how do we leverage it when the creation of it was somewhat accidental? I almost want to say accidental kind of negates everything that we just talked about. I don't want any of you to put effort, energy, or time into something that is not your core thing. And so if this was an accident, I would just reverse the accident. I would reverse the accident. Unless this is an area where you intentionally want to grow in, then I would just say, hey guys, this was a mistake. Let me get out of here. Like, there's 300, she says, 300 people, 300 email addresses on that mailing list, 800 sums on that channel, all by accident. I would not put another second of effort or energy into this. I would just call it what it is. It was an accident. I wasn't intending for this to be this, and I'm not putting any more effort or energy into it. Maybe you send out a final email and you close down that list, or you send out an email and you transition them over to your primary thing, the area in which you want to grow. Hey, I know you guys signed up. This was for the watercolors. Guys, we're shifting. We're closing this one down. We're actually going to use this same mailing system for my primary thing, which is crafting or YouTube for grownups. I'm not certain which one you want to do there. I have this insight for Tracy because we've been able to work together on a number of things. But whatever you want to actually put effort, energy into, that's where I would put the effort and energy. I wouldn't put it into this because this wasn't intentional. And here's the truth. People can tell when it wasn't intentional. So just be honest with them and say, hey, this wasn't intentional. This is where I am intentional. And I want you guys to sign up over here. If you're not interested in what we have over here, then I welcome you. I invite you to hit the unsubscribe button, because that's the kind of content that I'm going to be putting into this space going forward. Lastly, I would say for the channel as a whole, I would also close it down. Unless this is something you're planning on working with, maybe you plan on working with it down the line a ways, just leave the channel as it is, but I wouldn't sign up anybody else to the mailing list. I would close down the mailing list or transition that mailing list to something else. I don't necessarily think you need to delete the videos, but just leave that channel where it is, and don't necessarily, if there's a video on the channel that's calling for people to sign up for the mailing list, then definitely hold off on that too, right? You want to make sure that you have some stuff there that is intentional. Okay, no, there isn't. Okay, I got you. I think the latter might be the thing. Seems too good to not take advantage of, maybe push towards my school. Then it was from a giveaway of some outline images I'd created. Okay, so there's more context here that we can sink our teeth into, and I'm glad you were able to share that. Thank you for that. I definitely think that transition, just letting them know you guys signed up for this. I gave you the drawings, the outlines, I should say. Now we're shifting over to here. In fact, I've got more drawings in this school community. If you want, you can join here. Does that make sense? Like, these are all ways that we can transition. I'll tell you properly when we speak next, but that's all good stuff for me to think on. I love it. I love it, Tracy. And this is the truth of the matter. You've got options. You have 300 emails in an email list. I would definitely not throw them away, but I would definitely be honest with them. I wouldn't just shift to doing something else without letting them make a conscious decision about whether they want to take that journey with you. Even if you were doing this on a YouTube channel, I would encourage you to do the same. But on the YouTube channel, I would just leave it as it is and just keep it there. But for your mailing list, I think you can absolutely leverage that. Mailing lists are a cheat code of cheat codes. It's a way that you can touch people. You can always be in touch with them without the interference or the say-so of an algorithm. And so if I want to send an email to somebody, the email goes through. They actually would have to delete it or, put it into a folder or create a rule. But my emails don't adhere to an algorithm. And so as much as I love these platforms, YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, X, TikTok, these platforms are great for visibility. They're great for growing and engaging an audience, but these platforms have rules, and it is those rules that sometimes bless us in terms of putting us in front of people organically that we've never met before. But those rules sometimes hurt us in terms of people who have been longtime followers and subscribers and supporters. They don't see our content anymore. I had a conversation with somebody just recently. He's like, man, I used to see all your notifications and all that stuff, and all of a sudden it just stopped. I don't know what happened. And it's not that I changed anything. They didn't change anything. They didn't unsubscribe. We checked all that stuff. It's just the algorithm says that's not what we see you as being interested in. So we're going to serve you up this other stuff. And with an email list, you don't have any of those pieces of the puzzle. With an email list, you get to decide how you engage with that audience who's raised their hand and said, boom, this is what I'm interested in doing. Steve Factor says top 3 email servers. Man, you know, this is an interesting question, Steve, because I literally just did this with Mac. We just went through this whole process of trying. I mean, we looked at a boatload of email platforms or services. If I could amend that to services, we looked at a lot of different services. And so we just got his email address set up, info@damaclaney.com. That's his new website. And then we also got his, what's the term I'm looking for? We went with a mail service, a newsletter service, which we did go with MailerLite, MailerLite. MailerLite is what we went with. Now, I will say that one of the challenges why we searched so long for a proper platform, the challenge that we found ourselves in is that there is no, what's the term I'm looking for? All of the mailing services, like I use Flowdesk. I love Flowdesk. I think it is one of the top ones. But here's the caveat I want to say. All of the mailing services now, Constant Contact, MailerLite, MailChimp, Flowdesk, all of these platforms no longer have unlimited subscribers. Unlimited subscribers used to be the standard across the board. Every one of them has gotten rid of that. And so unless you signed up some time ago, Emily just said she loves Flowdesk, but unless you signed up some time ago, unfortunately, you're not going to have unlimited subscribers, unlimited email list subscribers. So as your list grows, if you have over 500, you get into this other tier, you pay this other amount. If you get over 15,000 of something like that, 15,000, I'm just using these numbers arbitrarily, but as you go through these numbers, I mean, it starts to exponentially increase in its price. So unless you got in some time ago, you have the pricing that is unlimited, and you don't change that, you're probably going to be looking around like we were to try and find one that it just kind of meets the best needs, but all of them have that pricing structure. I love Flowdesk, but I just couldn't justify having him use Flowdesk based on their adjusted pricing model. That's not the pricing model that I purchased under. And so I just was like, no, let's keep looking. I love the functions and features of Flowdesk. I really do. I love its linear pattern in terms of setting up the different email sequences and workflows. That's what it's called in Flowdesk. In MailerLite, it's called an automation. So, we were still able to do some of the same things. I just really like Flowdesk. So when you say, what are the top 3? It's hard to say what the top 3 are, but I would say those that I just mentioned would be some of the ones to consider. Now, I will also say this. I don't know. I'm not familiar with this lifetime deal. Oh, no. I didn't get a lifetime deal with Flowdesk. No. There are all-in-one platforms like Go High Level or Kajabi or Thinkific, Kartra, Podia. There are these all-in-one platforms that make it possible to not only do a mail list and curate that mail list, send things out, with those types of platforms, you have unlimited. I mean, most of those you have unlimited, but that you are going to pay more because the platform not only does that, it will give you a website, it'll give you a community, it'll give you digital products, it'll give you a lot of these different things. And so you have this whole other category if you want to go the route of all in one. If you want decentralized, the list that I shared before, those are the ones that are mail services that you can subscribe to. I hope that makes sense. And I thank you for the question. Gemini suggested Proton Mail. I don't know that Proton is a mailing. I don't know. Maybe it is. I don't know. No. It's just a mail. It's just a mail client. It's not a mailing service. And maybe I misunderstood your question. So hopefully, we gave you enough there to be able to sink your teeth in. Last question for today, and I'm going to run, is from Emily, and it says, do you prefer decentralized versus integrated? I think depending on the season that you're in as a creator, it may make sense to be in a decentralized platform. And then depending on the season you are in, it may make sense to be in integrated. Currently, I'm in a decentralized framework. Here's the thing I've noticed, even with those who are on like a Go High Level or a Kajabi, what I've noticed is that they also are using other pieces, right? People who are using things like Kit. ConvertKit is what it used to be called. I think they just call it Kit now. And it does a lot of beautiful things. Landing pages. Kit landing pages are like the standard for landing pages. But Kajabi has landing pages too. And so what I see happening, so good friend of mine, Myron Edmonds, his whole platform is Kajabi, his mailing list and all that stuff. That's good. But then his landing pages are ConvertKit. So, okay, you're using two full ecosystems you're essentially still in a decentralized setup, even though you're using platforms that each have all the bells and whistles. Why is that? Personal preference. And so again, I think there comes a time where it makes sense to have things decentralized. Have your things I like to say it this way. When I was making the decision to move away from Kajabi is a great platform. If you're currently using Kajabi, just know that I'm jealous because it is such a phenomenal platform. Dwayne Wood, one of our community members here, in my community, he's using Kajabi. It's great. He's found ways to use AI and work with the Kajabi. So I'm not speaking against it. I just came to this recognition that it has its thing that it does well, and then it has a lot of functions and features that cover all the boxes, but it doesn't necessarily do all of them well. And so I didn't feel like Kajabi did communities well. I think they did courses well. They did digital products well, but they didn't do communities well. And that was a major focus of mine. Well, school, that's all their focus is. School doesn't do email. School doesn't do a website. School doesn't do all these other things. And so because they just do the one thing very well, I found that to be a better model for me. Well, then I took that same idea and said, okay, which one of these mailing platforms just does mail very well? And that's when I came up with Flowdesk. And I just felt like, man, Flowdesk, they don't do all this other stuff. They just do email. And they do email very well. And I said, that's what I'm going to go with. So you do have to really understand, like, how did a particular platform come to market? What did they come to market for? And what have they added since? because those things that they've added are probably not their core business. These are things that they've added on as a value add for the core thing that they do. I think of Restream as an example. Their core business was to take your stream and stream it to multiple destinations. I still use Restream for that core business. Restream has AI clips. Restream has a live stream studio. Restream has a number of other functions and features that you could utilize. I don't use any of those. I use Restream for its core thing that they came to market for. And that's my my philosophy on that. And so hopefully that makes sense. You know, they had the old adage that says jack of all trades, master of none. I do think that when you have these all-in-one, integrated products, you are going to sacrifice somewhere because they're not necessarily the leader in that particular area or that niche. So hopefully that makes sense. And I thank you for the question. Yeah. I love it. Tracy says, for me, it did too. Made it so hard to navigate. She's talking about Kajabi. I had to get off of there because I just felt like I was spinning my wheels trying to build a community on a platform that was never really built for building a community. It was built to sell your courses or your digital products, but it wasn't built to build a community. And so I had to get off of there. Max says, it's also a dollar agency issue with the rolling pricing. Absolutely. Dollar agony issue. Because it's like one of those things where it's like, I want to grow my mailing list, but as I grow, now I've got to be mindful that I've got to pay more every time I grow. And so it's a very, very much a challenge. Very much a challenge. But I thank you so much for the question. Emily says, that was a very good overview. Absolutely. Steve says, Gemini said Flowdesk is great for me now, and you and Emily said that so too. So he's going to be looking into Flowdesk. I'm glad we were able to have this conversation today. I want to end by just sharing really briefly, quickly here. Guys, your brand is you get to own it. You get to decide. One of the things that we had the same exercise in a coaching program that I am in. And our coach said to us, what is something that you think of when you think of me? And I said to him, when I think of you, I see somebody who wants to see me win. Like that is so core to who he is. He genuinely wants to see others win. He wants to see them succeed. He wants to see them progress. He wants to see them experience success at a level that they've never experienced before. That is what I came to when I shared that with him. And he was awed by that response, but it was also very confirming for him. Maybe something he hadn't necessarily thought about, but it is at the base of everything he does is this core desire to see the people that God has brought into his sphere of influence to be successful, for them to win. And I was like, man, you steward your gift and you shepherd your flock very well because you want to see us succeed. And I just want us to be thinking about, even as you get some of those words from others, you go through this challenge of what do I want my brand to be? What do people say my brand is? What power word am I choosing? As we go through this challenge of this exercise, I want you to be also thinking about how these words, even if they're different, how they might actually kind of coalesce to still come down to the same base thing. There's so many different words that could describe my coach. But I think all of those words come out of a base desire that he wants to see his people win. And I thought, that's gold. And that's what branding is all about. And we get to own our brand. We get to steward the story God is writing in us, through us, that it can have benefit to those who are around us, and it can have benefit to those God has called us to serve. I'm done. I'm going to get out of your way. I'm going to head over to the airport, but I want to say a word of thanks to each and every one of you for coming and being with us today. Truly, truly, truly appreciate every one of you. And I'm excited for what you are going to do. Grace and peace, fam. Be blessed, and we'll see you in the next one. Later.